for $100,000 in cash and additional services to student, faculty, and community winners. Winners are building their businesses, many at the edge.
Through competing in competitions that the Edge has kind of set me up to be a part of, I've learned a lot about both myself and my business as a whole. It's opened the door to several investment opportunities, to partnerships, and helped me really solidify my business plan to be sure that we are 100% ready to move forward from here on out.
The University of Alabama has been extremely helpful with us developing our business from when we were just a napkin sketch idea. And as we found our way to the Edge, that's when everything just expedited our process.
Dr. Welburn, Josh, Michael, the whole team here at the Edge is always willing to lend a hand and give you their advice and help you any way they can. And without that network of people trying to push you forward and get this off the ground, we'd be a lot further back than where we are today.
To build a greater future, where do you begin? You expand access to education and technology. You transform the workforce and ignite tomorrow's economic engines. You engage thousands of the world's most talented faculty to lead the next generation of students and researchers. You build higher education's most powerful AI supercomputer, creating opportunities for students and faculty across every discipline to learn this groundbreaking technology and use it to solve our world's most pressing challenges. You change how people learn, discover, explore, and work forever. Where do you begin? At the University of Florida. Our unstoppable future is here today.
Today's rapidly evolving economy presents great opportunities, but also grand challenges. The world is calling for better solutions, and we are answering the call, just as we've done since 1785. We're bringing together the thinkers, the dreamers, the doers, to bring ideas to life and connect solutions with the problems that matter most. This is where industry meets academia, where creativity meets impact. This is where good ideas collide and become products and ventures that will drive economic development. This is where innovation changes lives.
What's your path?
What's your path?
What's your path?
What's your path?
My path helped me start a sustainable business.
My path is preparing me to make a difference in the business world.
My path is preparing me for business engineering.
My path took me all over the world, including Ecuador and New Zealand. If you're someone who wants to,
then join us on a Gatton Pathway.
Then join us on a Gatton Pathway.
On the social entrepreneurship pathway, we shape sustainable communities.
On the engineering and management pathway, we are driving innovative business solutions.
On the Global Scholars Pathway, we travel the world learning about international business.
Now I'm on the path to be a CEO. Now I'm on a path to shape a more diverse future.
On my path, I'm learning from different cultures to improve my business perspective.
Now I'm on a path to work in international economic development.
I'm on a path to be a general manager for the NBA. If you're someone who wants to,
then we'll see you on a Gatton Pathway.
Then we'll see you on a Gatton Pathway.
Then we'll see you on a Gatton Pathway. What's your path?
When the ground shifts beneath you, you can run or you can stand firm. At LSU, our stand is rock solid. Our blood runs hot, even as our heads stay cool. Because now is a pivotal moment in the fight for our future. And we refuse to back down when the world needs solutions. LSU, fierce for the future.
Creating a legacy takes time, takes dedication, spirit, and a greater vision. That vision starts here at the University of Mississippi. What will you be remembered by? Your character, your contributions, your friendship. Your legacy will define who we are now and who we are becoming for our state, our students, and our future. Ole Miss, build your legacy.
Our world is changing. The way we work, the way we connect, the way we see things around us. At Mississippi State University, we're agents of change, creating our own bright futures, solving real problems, turning challenges into possibilities, and lighting the way to a whole new world of emerging markets. Through MSU's new state-of-the-art Center for Entrepreneurship and Outreach, we're collaborating across campus, sharing perspectives and resources of multiple disciplines to power dreams. But we're so much more than dreamers. We've launched hundreds of student-led businesses, earning millions in revenue, and impacting our state's economy in new and creative ways. We're the next generation of business leaders, and we're ready for a changing world. How do we know we're ready? Because we're the ones changing it.
Perspective.
Educational.
Networking.
Exhilarating.
Intentional.
Conditioning.
Exhilarating.
growth.
Redesigned.
I am made of 200-year-old tradition and endless memories. I am made of unrelenting inquiry, home to those who raise the bar and raise it again. I am made of bright conviction, of grit, of growth, of greatness. I am South Carolina.
Come with me on a visit to this oldest public university in Texas. Rich in heritage.
Since 1876, Aggies have been the catalyst behind ideas and endeavors that change the world. And the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship is dedicated to keeping that tradition alive and well at Texas A&M. At the McFerrin Center, we believe strong leaders become strong founders. We believe you shouldn't have to choose between launching your company and earning your degree. But most importantly, we believe everyone can be an entrepreneur. Whether you're an incoming freshman or former student, dance major or nuclear engineer, we want to help you achieve your goals, pursue your passions, and realize your dreams. Here you'll learn what it means to be an entrepreneur. You'll be pushed outside your comfort zone, and you'll be challenged in ways that matter. Just starting a company doesn't make you an entrepreneur. But if you're a creator, innovator, thinker, and doer who is passionate about big issues and solving real problems, then you're already thinking like an entrepreneur. Discover what you are capable of and join a community of trailblazers who aren't afraid of the unknown and don't give up when others call their dreams impossible. Shape your future at the McFerrin Center for Entrepreneurship.
Okay, welcome back everyone to the afternoon preliminary sessions for the SEC pitch competition. I'm I guess welcome back to the student teams, to our pitch group number 2, and welcome for the first time to all of our judges. Since this is a new group of judges for our pitching teams, I'd love it if our judges could just go around and introduce themselves really quickly like they did in the morning one more time. And so if we want to start with Ronnie. Ronnie, could you reintroduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. Hi guys, I'm Ronnie. I work for a single family office based out of South Florida. We invest in early stage tech companies. And yeah, I'm originally from Canada, went to the University of Miami where I studied business and played soccer. And then started with doing what I'm doing now almost 3 years ago.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Daryl?
Hi, my name is Daryl Robinson. I have a company called NewQuest Crosswell. We're based out of Houston. Our focus is developing large-scale retail, grocery-anchored or catalyst-driven retail projects throughout Texas. We also have a division that builds out more smaller programmatic single-tenant build-to-suits throughout the country. And then recently, over the last couple of years, we incorporated a debt fund where we back a lot of developers in the open market as it relates to commercial real estate. I went to the University of Alabama and have been actively involved in the entrepreneurial program there, and currently chair the entrepreneurial committee for the business school board.
Excellent. Thank you. John.
Hello, everybody. John Reinhardt in Kentucky. I undergraduate UK in accounting, and then MBA from the University of Miami in Florida. I've been a serial entrepreneur since '92. I've exited a healthcare software company in the late '90s around electronic health records. I specialize in aging innovation in health tech. Angel investor. Currently 2 deals. One is an online education company, and the other one is in hemp CBD that I'm partners in and actively engaged with. Nice to be with you.
Excellent. Thank you. And then finally, Robert.
Thanks, everyone. First of all, I'm on vacation, okay, and in California, so I'm changing locations right now, but I graduated from the University of Missouri. Wanted to start a business, got involved in the steel business and started a steel pipe company. We this last year did over $100 million in revenue. And at the end of the year, I sold it to all my employees in an ESOP. I've been involved with Mizzou entrepreneurial group for a decade and look forward to hearing everybody's pitch.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. So teams, just as a reminder, we're going to have 5-minute pitches followed by 5 minutes of Q&A from all of the judges. Judges, I'm going to call on you guys in order, how you just introduced yourself. So I'll call on Ronnie, Daryl, John, and then Robert, and then we'll reverse the order for the next team to make sure that everybody gets a chance to ask all of their questions. Teams, I'm going to introduce you again by your school name, and as your name is announced, please share your slides. Now, the only difference between this session and the morning session is that we are reversing the order. And so LSU is going to start first, and then we're going to go backwards from there. Does anybody have any questions before we begin? Okay, we are going to take a 10-minute break after the 4th team goes, and I'll be sure to mention that again as we get close to that. But otherwise, we are going to do everything just like we did in the morning. And so first up, we have LSU.
Okay, thanks. I'll go ahead and share my slide. Oh, it says that host disabled participant screen sharing.
Try it now.
Okay. All right, looks like it's working. All right, can you see them?
We can see them.
Okay, great. All right, hi everybody, I'm Stephanie Hoskins. I am the co-founder and CEO of Dettle. So the problem that we are addressing is that currently it's very difficult to negotiate and settle any outstanding invoices or bad debt, especially when it's an individual consumer. Some organizations have tens of thousands of these accounts. And the problem really stems from a lack of transparency in the process, and also it's incredibly time consuming as well. And one of the inspirations behind this is I have a friend who owed $9,000 in tuition to her university, and her employer wanted to pay for her to go back and get her MBA. But because of her bad debt, they wouldn't release her transcript. So she actually couldn't even pursue higher education. The creditor called her and said, hey, we'll settle today for $3,000. And she said, of course, yes, let's do this. Put that in writing first, because all I have is $3,000 and I need this debt to be gone. And they didn't believe that she had it, so they wouldn't put it in writing. And so it completely broke down. She didn't pay off her debt. She didn't get the MBA from her employer either. And so the current market size of this impacts 30 million Americans currently have at least one bad debt account. And 93% of all businesses have customers who have not paid or can't pay an invoice. They currently pay $12 billion in fees to third-party collectors, and this does not even include all the businesses, which is the majority, who don't use debt collections at all. So current methods, you can either outsource your debt, which you'll probably get about 8 cents on the dollar, or you can straight up sell your debt outright. You'll get 4 cents on the dollar. As I mentioned before, the third option is the in-house collections, which range from 0% to industry best practices, which varies widely. For example, hospitals cannot, like 20% of healthcare organizations have no debt collection practice whatsoever. The impact of COVID on this is accelerating the bad debt crisis. For example, just last month, 6 million households missed their rent or mortgage payments. Utility companies are seeing it, property managers are seeing it. This bad debt is increasing in every industry. Our solution allows people to efficiently negotiate and settle these overdue accounts because we simplify, improve, and automate the process so that you can now handle this at the individual one-on-one consumer level. We have several competitive advantages, the biggest one being that we're not a debt collector. We are a software that enables companies to negotiate directly with their own customers. This enables us to use online payment solutions that debt collectors are currently barred from using because of regulation. So this means PayPal, Venmo, Stripe, anything online, debt collectors can't use. We're also very easy to implement. For example, if you're a company and you have an invoice go past due, you can sign up for Dettle and be inviting that account to negotiate within 10 minutes. We have, our business model is a 10% transaction fee on all of the settled debt that goes through Dettle. We have future revenue streams of licensing and partnership deals that we're looking into. We have several a la carte features that we're working on building out that we can charge individually. There are subscription-based models that we're looking at as well, and the minimum fee per month to charge. The team is myself. I am currently a PhD student in finance at LSU, and I have 10 years of corporate finance and strategy experience, specifically within healthcare. My husband went to Ole Miss. He has experience in business development and government relations, and we both have previous startup experience. So the current traction for our pilot program, which is now active, we have signed up 5 pilot sites. We actually just last week added another one, which is an organization that represents 66,000 landlords. They're going to see if their members want to partner and test out our solution. So we're looking at piloting within the property management industry soon now too. But currently we're in healthcare and education sites. Our goal, and we're on track by the end of the year, to have $1 million in bad debt sent through Dettle's platform, enabling between 3,000 and 4,000 people the option to purchase their own bad debt directly from the people they owe, improving margins for companies and providing financial freedom for individuals. So the ask for this, for the people in this virtual room right now would be, if you know of any potential pilot sites who might want to pilot our solution, we are expanding that program. We also are looking for investors. We're about to raise our pre-seed round. If you know any intros to either of those, you can email me, Stephanie@Dettle.com.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. That is your time. So now we are going to turn it over to the judges, and we're going to start with Ronnie. Ronnie, do you have any questions?
Sure, yeah. It's hard without a demo, but can you go through really quickly from the user's perspective when they have the software platform and they're using it? What does that flow look like?
Sure. So if you're the company, you sign on, you create your account, you provide your account details like the organization's name, your bank account information so that you can get paid, which is that's through Stripe if you're the organization. And then you'll have a dashboard. You'll be able to invite your customers. We're working on, right now, you can invite via email. And we're also working on SMS texting, so you can text people an invitation. Once your customer gets the invitation, they then create a customer account on Duddle, and they don't have to supply the Stripe account information. The way they log in for financials is through Plaid. So 1 in 4 consumers have used Plaid before. It's now owned by Visa. It's very trustworthy, and it prevents you from having to share your account information with Duddle. So you log in through Plaid, you see the person that you owe. There's direct messaging within the app too, so you can correct any mistakes. And then basically we have this negotiation tool where either side can kick off the negotiation. We're working on automating all kinds of pieces of it. Once you make an offer or counter, the money is withheld until the other side gives you that settlement agreement letter. And so if you're the company and you see that someone's made an offer, you know that money is there. If you accept it, you get it. It gets dispersed as soon as they accept the settlement agreement. So that way you know you're not accepting something and then having to chase it down further.
Got it. Awesome. That was really helpful.
Thanks.
All right, Daryl, do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Good presentation. Couple questions. I presume you're engaged by the vendor that has the receivable, I presume. And the question is, how do you protect the information that comes into the platform that isn't ultimately used against the party that owes the money? I mean, that's probably one of the biggest fears, that if I'm going to, let's say I'm past due, I want to structure some sort of payment or maybe negotiate my debt, anything that I disclose, I don't want it to be used against me.
Yeah, so one of the ways that we mitigate that fear that consumers have is this is coming directly from the company that you owe. So it's not coming from an aggressive third-party collector. The company that you owe, so this is a way to prevent collectors from getting any of your information at all, because if they can settle it before it goes to collections, then it will never go to a collector. We also don't save. So right now during our pilot period, until we get that brand recognition and strength, we're not saving most of the information. We do plan to save enough data to provide predictive analytics with propensity scores and some guidance for small businesses on the best practices for settling a debt, in your industry. But right now it's really, that settlement agreement letter, they know that you won't get their money unless they get their receipt.
You mentioned, last question was that debt collectors or agencies aren't allowed to utilize online payment platforms. If that's the case, you're able to do that, but though that you're paid on a contingency basis, wouldn't you be thrown into the same bucket as a debt collector?
We are not, because we are not actively reaching out to consumers who owe someone else money. So in addition to the negotiation tool, we plan on offering a lot of other services. And even moving, like I mentioned, to the subscription fee, but charging the 10%, that's really just a fair method we felt to charge small businesses and these large businesses as they pilot, no risk at all to try it out. But yeah, we're not considered a debt collector because we are not contacting those customers collecting on behalf of someone else.
John, do you have a quick question?
Yeah, for your pre-seed round, how do you value the company at this stage?
We plan to use a SAFE or a convertible note with a valuation cap, and that's going to be contingent on how far along our pilot gets before we raise that round. So we're very close to revenue, probably in the next month or so. So if we wait a couple months and our revenues grow, we can command a higher cap.
Do you have any idea how much you're raising?
We're looking at around 800,000.
Okay, Thank you.
And we are actually just out of time. So Robert, you're going to kick off questions on the next group. And so with that, we have Georgia up next. So if Georgia wants to share their slide.
All right.
Judges, we can see your slides. Judges, if you just want to give me a thumbs up when you guys are ready.
Then turn right onto Alpine Road toward Menlo.
Ready for Robert. I don't see a thumb on here. Sorry.
Okay. Okay, it looks like everybody is ready. And so with that, I'm going to hit recording, and Georgia, you can begin.
All right. Hello, my name is Valeria Brenner, and my company is ThriftShip. I got this idea because I own a successful small business selling thrifted clothing on Instagram. And for those of you that don't know, Instagram may not seem like an e-commerce platform, but because of its size and wide reach, small businesses have revolutionized the app by turning it into an online storefront. This is Hannah, and she is one of these small business owners. She sells secondhand clothing that she finds at local thrift stores on her Instagram account at Sunbum Thrifts. But Hannah has one big problem: shipping. With about 12 sales a week, it takes her over 2 hours to make shipping labels and package her item. And since Instagram isn't officially a selling platform, Hannah has to conduct customer interactions and purchases all through her direct messages. So when it's time for shipping, she has to manually retype every address into shipping websites line by line. She told me that she built her own website last month and that she uses it for the sole purpose of sending her customers on Instagram a checkout link so that she doesn't have to write the shipping information herself. But it barely saves time as she has to upload every post twice now, once on her website and once on her Instagram. She does all this just to try to avoid the hassle of entering shipping information. And it's not just Hannah who struggles with this. There are 12.5 million small businesses who sell primarily or only through their Instagram account. The average small business has 5,000 followers, and they sell around 15 products a week and take 2 hours to package and print out shipping labels. These are 2 hours that young entrepreneurs could be using to grow their business. In comes ThriftShip. We are a website that connects with these small businesses and gives them a personalized link to send to customers for shipping. It keeps track of all the shipping information for them. And now all Hannah has to do is hit print. The process is simple. When Hannah sells an item, she sends her customer, who in this case is Layla, her personalized link. Layla then clicks on the link and enters her name, address, and what item she bought. And then all this is organized onto Hannah's ThriftShip account, so all she has to do is enter her product's weight. At the end of the week, Hannah can purchase and print all of her shipping labels out and place them on her packages hassle-free. My 4 main competitors don't offer the same benefits as ThriftShip. Shopify, Instagram, and PirateShip all require websites, which these Instagram accounts don't have. And Common Sold offers more features than what they need, and therefore is out of their willingness to pay range. We are planning to partner with USPS to get discounted shipping rates, and USPS offers several pathways to partner with them. The 2 routes that are the most viable for my company is either a reselling agreement that generates income based on the volume of clients I bring to them, or a licensing agreement where I'm able to place a margin on top of each shipping label. Based on either of these options, I believe ThriftShip will be able to generate a revenue of 5 to 10 cents per package. This may seem like a small margin, but when considering that our client base ships out an average of 15 products a week, we are looking at $39 a year minimum from each merchant in a 12.5 million person customer base. This makes our revenue potential just with USPS to be $487 million a year. But realistically, we would also have other revenue streams, such as a monthly subscription fee. Our model allows us to match our competitors' cheap shipping prices and provide an experience tailored specifically for small businesses on social media, all while generating revenue and margin. So far, the amount of women that have brought up their qualms with having to manually insert their customer's address line by line has been astounding. And since relaunching my landing page on Friday, I have sent out 30 invitations to beta test my software, and 8 women have already signed up. We plan to kick off our business by focusing on women who use Instagram to sell thrifted clothing. We are planning to grow using targeted ads on Instagram and through word of mouth. In the Instagram thrifting community, recommendations from others are highly valued, and it is extremely common to get messages from new accounts for advice on where to thrift, how to price, and you've guessed it, where to buy their shipping labels. In my 3 years of selling, all the tools I have adopted come from word of mouth, so I understand the importance of new customers having an excellent experience with my website. In summary, we are trying to empower Instagram sellers by giving them back precious time that was previously taken up by making shipping labels. These $5,000 will be used to build an MVP prototype, and it won't be perfect by any means, but it will allow us to get out there and gauge interest in our solution and see the initial reaction that our company has on our customers. Thank you, and I'm ready for questions.
Okay, we're going to start the questioning period with Robert. Robert, do you have any questions?
What kind of revenue, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of revenue do you think that you can generate in your first year?
So there are 12.5 million people in my TAM, and about 5% of these are thrift counts, which is about 625,000 women, mostly women. And with beta testing, we got about 8 out of 30 interested, which is about a 30% interest rate. But more realistically, if we were to touch only like 10% of that, which is 62,500 people, we're looking at $39 a year from each of them, not including subscription fees, which is about $2.5 million in our first year of operation.
And how long do you actually think that you could tag and get that many people in the first year?
No, that's a very optimistic outlook if we were to get 10% even of that thrifting community. And so we're looking optimistically out on it, but that is what I have calculated thus far.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Excellent. Next up is John. Any questions?
Yeah, my question is this it seems like it's definitely a challenging opportunity to try to solve, but the question is your competitive distinctiveness. It seems like it's a convenience competitive distinctiveness as opposed to a technology or some kind of defendable barrier, especially with the quick learning that you indicated in the segment of everybody, kind of learns from each other. How comfortable are you that this can be defended in a way that you can get a significant market share at $39 a year a member? That's a small number.
Just because, because I am the first one in this market entering, I do have the speed and that first go ahead beyond any of my competitors who would be copying my software if that were to happen. And just the fact that I've been in this business for 3 years and I have built personal relationships with a lot of these thrifting accounts, and I'm in numerous support group chats, I believe that does give me a deeper insight that my competitors just won't have.
Just one thought is maybe figure out a way they'd have to be committed to you, even if it was a low price offer or some kind of best price offer, because you're really a best practices accumulation here of a model that probably needs disruption, but some kind of commitment would be wise for you to do, I think.
Yes, sir. That sounds like a good idea.
All right, next up, Daryl. Daryl, any questions?
Sure, I got a couple questions. So you talked about a $12.5 million market. Within that market, are these, what would you say the percentages of people that are actually doing this and making a living doing it? I know that there are those that are online that are kind of, call it the side hustle, or it's my daughter who takes, clothes and she markets them, they may be used in nature, but she'll market them back onto the internet. So give me an idea of percentages wise.
Well,
percentage-wise?
percentage-wise, I believe about 5 to 10% do it full time, but we're also focusing on people just like your daughter who do this as a side hustle and they enjoy doing it and they want to keep the cost as low as possible. And your daughter, I'm guessing, is in high school or in college and is balancing this small business with her education and taking 2+ hours packaging every item and having to enter the shipping labels. Like that makes it a lot harder for her to balance this school and work life, which is exactly what my company is about, is having these young women become successful entrepreneurs by not forcing them to choose either or. So that's what we're marketing towards.
Sure, I understand. It makes all the sense in the world because, companies use freight or shipping as a profit center. I mean, most companies. I mean, when you order something online, you're generally getting if it's a $5 ship, you're just paying $7.50, so it's a markup. I guess the key is, how do you market yourself that people that are using your service or, vendors using your services, they feel like they're getting a price that is, has some buying power, where you're able to go to the post office, buy power, but you can demonstrate to them that you're not really giving them a markup and they're getting a fair price.
Yes. So the way is I'm doing this is, like I discussed in my presentation, is USPS offers several different pathways to partner with them. And the reselling agreement is you can have an optional markup on them, but you also earn a percentage income from USPS depending on the number of sales. And it's through this method that I believe we would be able to put a small margin on it and gain revenue through that without compromising the competitiveness of our pricing for our customers. So they are getting a good deal and cutting down on their time.
Okay, that is all the time we have for Georgia. Next up, we have Texas A&M. And so if Georgia wants to stop sharing their slides and Texas A&M can start, we'll give the judges a minute to fill out their forms.
Can you see my slides?
We can.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Are all my judges ready? Okay. So Texas A&M, you can take it away.
Thank you. Man's best friend, a term coined for the lovable, playful fur babies that have impacted our lives so dearly. Unfortunately, sometimes our pets can get sick or hurt, which can put them in a dire situation. I've experienced this personally. Meet my best friend, Atasi. This past summer, I walked out to my backyard to see that Atasi had collapsed. I thought she was dead. Howdy, my name is Stephanie Young, and I'm a senior animal science major at Texas A&M University. I'm also the CEO and co-founder of SkyPaws. We are revolutionizing a way to save more pets' lives through an advanced in-hospital vitals monitoring system. The SkyPaws device is an all-in-one patent-pending system that measures heart rate, ECG, temperature, and oxygen saturation. In the future, we plan to integrate our own algorithms for respiratory rate. When your pet goes to the hospital, they are only able to be hooked up to vitals monitoring equipment when they're asleep or under anesthesia. When they're awake, those sensors and wires quickly become glorified chew toys. Because of this, after a procedure, your pet is left alone in a kennel with no equipment on them to be checked on every 5 or 10 minutes. This can have some serious consequences for your pet's health and be a huge liability for the veterinarian. If your pet were to stop breathing within that 5 to 10 minute window, the staff wouldn't be notified, and your pet could unnecessarily pass away. When compared to human medicine, this standard of veterinary practice sounds preposterous. When humans go in for a procedure, they are hooked up to the equipment from the moment they're triaged to the time they leave. Don't our pets deserve this quality of care too? Here's how the SkyPaws device works. Our small 2.5-inch disc is placed and secured onto the patient's chest. All of the data is then collected and streamed via Wi-Fi to any display in the hospital. If your pet's vitals were to go outside of a certain threshold that was previously set by your veterinarian, it would set off an alarm, letting the staff know that your pet needs help. This greatly de-risks the liability for the veterinarian. At the end of the vitals monitoring session, all of that data is then collected and exported into patient records. SkyPaws has two main competitors, neither of which are on the market. Both VetMeasure and DineBeat measure the exact same vitals that we do, but they've chosen a harness as their applicator. This means that this necessary vitals information is only applicable to pets that fit in their predetermined sizes. The SkyPaws device is small and versatile and can fit on any species, shape, or size of mammal. Our second competitive advantage is that all of our software is already regulated to human medical grade standards. Therefore, when the veterinary industry, which is highly unregulated, becomes regulated, we will be prepared for that shift. Our total addressable market is the 32,000 veterinary hospitals in the United States. We plan to be first to penetrate this market, and by the end of year one, capture 10% of the market, bringing in $13 million in revenue. By year three, we plan to capture 55% of the market and bring in $73 million in revenue. And by year 5, we plan to capture 75% of the total addressable market, bringing in $100 million in revenue. We plan to generate our revenue through two main streams. The first one is the initial sales of our devices and chargers. The second is through the recurring sales of consumables, as well as our software subscription sales. In the future, we'd like to add a third revenue stream, where we aggregate all of the data collected by our devices and sell it. Meet the team behind SkyPaws. My name is Stephanie. I'm the CEO. Brianna is the veterinarian on our team. We've partnered with JSL Innovations to develop and manufacture our devices, and we've already had talks about what scalability will look like. We also will be signing contracts soon with Galen Data, who will be managing all of our cloud-based systems. Now back to Atasi. My first instinct was to put the latest prototype of the SkyPaws device on her. She was suffering from a heat stroke. The vet told me that if I hadn't used the SkyPaws device and acted as quickly as I did, Atasi wouldn't have survived. SkyPaws saved my own pet. Right now, we are in a race to get to be first to launch in May 2021. Today, I'm asking for $10,000 to help forward a partnership we have with Texas A&M's Vet School to begin testing. SkyPaws has already saved one life. Give me the chance to save your pet too. Join me. Thank you, and I'm open to any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Texas A&M. First up for questions is Ronnie.
Awesome. Congrats, Stephanie. That's amazing that you've managed to build this.
Thank you.
The first question that comes to mind is, what is the go-to-market strategy? How do you sell to these hospitals?
Absolutely. So the main way to sell vitals monitoring or any type of veterinary medical device is by showing up to conferences like the Veterinary Innovation Summit and the AVMA and VMX. That is where we plan to get our early adopters. Once we have our early adopters, we plan to take this device into research institutions like Texas A&M, where they're doing medical research on dogs that have muscular dystrophy, which are still being monitored the same way that pets in hospital are. Once they are using our device, getting accurate vitals monitoring data and publishing papers based on their research, we will have the credibility to be able to cross the chasm into the mainstream adopters.
Got it. Okay. And then the other one that I wanted to ask quickly, I'm not sure about regulations when it comes to pets as opposed to humans. So are there any, trials or anything that you have to go through before you can officially launch?
No, ma'am. Actually, not. There are no FDA trials or anything of the sort. There's not even a HIPAA type law or regulation for the veterinary space, which gives us a key advantage that maybe one day we could go into human medicine and we would completely bypass the FDA trials, which means we would be ahead of our competitors in the human space if we decided to go that route.
Interesting. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Daryl, you're up next.
Great presentation. Thank you. The first thing that pops out to me is your device is about $200 to manufacture, and you're retailing it for roughly $600. Is there any way to get that cost down per unit? I mean, because you're providing heart rate, ECG, and temperature. I mean, it's probably not any different than what you're able to get off of, say, an Apple Watch. Am I correct, or am I not, giving you credence for that?
Right. So right now, like I said, there isn't anything that is monitoring pets. So anything is a step up from nothing. But when it comes to cost, that cost will go down. So the cost on my slides of being $600 a piece with a $200 cost for us is based on the fact that we don't have a custom PCB yet, which will be a part of the next round when we hit consumer market. So we could get that price down to about $100. But as for the alpha devices right now, it is $200 device.
Because I think that's critical, because you know that veterinary, there's no insurance when you take your dog to a vet or to a vet hospital. And so that's a key component. Second is if you add the integration of oxygen testing, will that require a different connectivity to the dog or the animal itself?
We hope not. The SkyPaws device is placed onto the chest, and so we're hoping that we will be able to create an algorithm using accelerometer to get that respiratory rate accurate.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, next up is John.
Yeah, so the question I have is about the experience for the animals, and you say it works for all sizes and all shapes and I'm sure fur patterns or whatever, but the is it destructible? I guess is about. I mean, because my dog can find chew toys in places that if I put it on top of its head, it could still eat it. So, what do you do to keep the sort of the safety measure of that? I mean, is it? I mean, I'm sure it's a hard plastic or something, but it just seems to me that would be one of the big things, right? It falling off or somebody destroys it, and.
Yes, so right now our current devices aren't completely indestructible yet. We are definitely on the way to doing so, but in the process of doing that, we will be adding in waterproof coating to each of our chips as well as the batteries. And we will make sure that we use batteries that are mainly used for animals, is the best way to put it, that if they were to swallow it, it's easier to get out or easier to figure out how to get out without poisoning the dog. We are also working through drop-proof technology with the new printers that we have.
And to Daryl's point, is this a one-time use, a 1-to-1 ratio? I mean, if I had a seizure,
completely reusable.
What'd you say?
Our devices are completely reusable.
So you would clean them and use them in the vet hospital to multiple pets, as opposed to a consumer who's monitoring a epileptic dog or some, because it seems to me the research here could be on the medicine effects to dogs. Because one of the things I have a struggle with, CBD is supposed to be great for dogs, but the owners have no idea, if it works or doesn't work or whatever. So the validation of med attributes to animals, since they can't tell you it's working, seems like that would be a good
lot of talk with pet hospice, because heart rate is directly correlated to pain level. And
okay, unfortunately, we are out of time for Texas A&M, but thank you very much for that great presentation. Next up, we have Missouri. So Missouri can share their slides while the judges take their final notes. As a reminder, there will be a 10-minute break after the judges' questions on this part of the presentation. Are my judges ready to go?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, Missouri, you can begin.
This is Pollinate, an operating system for global e-commerce delivery. The company motivation, we believe that everyone should have access to global e-commerce, and that's what drives us at Pollinate. So the problem we're going after, business to consumer shipping in emerging economies is super hard and expensive. For example, in Kenya, our initial market, if you order something online, 60% of the time it's going to be late, and 20% of the time it's going to be lost or stolen. So you're never going to get it. And for that service, you're paying 3 times as much as you would here in the United States or any other emerging economy or developed economy. 60% of Kenyans have access to internet. They're very savvy social media users, yet 0.5% of Kenyans actually shop for e-commerce. There's a clear disconnect there. Why? Because the logistics system simply doesn't work. This is what the current system looks like if you ordered something off an e-commerce site. You order it, it gets dispatched to delivery company number 1. They subcontract delivery number 2. This is called the first and middle mile. You have multiple parties subcontracting to each other, and so you have a lot of package handing off. And they don't have one unified tracking system. They also have inefficient routing and loads. So you never know where the package is, and it's super inefficient. And then we look to the last mile. This is where the package goes from the last warehouse to your door. This is 50% of the entire delivery cost. In emerging economies, it requires local knowledge because there's no formal addressing system, meaning they use landmark addressing. So they're saying, I'm across from the bakery 2 blocks down to door to the left. And that requires people that actually live there to do the deliveries. So you have very specific people that are capable of doing this. And also you have 12-hour delivery windows, meaning that if you want a package, you have to stay from home from work to get that package. This is a solution we're building. First, we talk about delivery Legos. The idea here is to allow multiple different delivery providers to interconnect together. Say, for example, you have a rickshaw driver, you have a bike delivery person, and you have a truck. We can connect those pieces together to allow super efficient delivery to even the most remote places in the world at a low cost, yet a pretty fast rate. And we do this by bringing everyone onto one unified platform where they can interconnect. Our backend will automatically figure out the best route that the package should take to optimize for cost and speed and make it super usable for any business. So if you're an e-commerce website, we'll have a Shopify plugin for you to use. If you're a delivery company, we'll have mobile apps and web apps for you to give to your drivers. So this is what the flow looks like on the Pollinate system. You order something from the e-commerce warehouse. We leverage something like a street stall, which are very popular in emerging economies and are found on every corner instead of warehouses. So this is our flexible Legos connecting together. And then maybe it needs to go to another street stall if it's a very remote place. All these providers are working under one Pollinate platform. And in the last mile, you can walk over to your street stall and pick up your package. No last mile delivery costs. You pick up whenever you want. No local knowledge required. And this is the beauty that the Legos basically have. It's super flexible, allowing us to, again, optimize for cost and optimize for speed. And this is what the competitive landscape looks like. We're the ones that are uniquely positioned to take on this task because we're super flexible and we only focus on business to consumer versus business to business. In terms of our main customers are medium to large e-commerce sites like Jumia and Mall for Africa. For them, we provide faster, cheaper and trackable deliveries. And in turn, they get more customers and sales volume. In terms of our market opportunity, TAM is $950 billion. This is the global third-party logistics in 2018. It's going to be, of course, more now. And our SOM is, we're assuming that we can get 25% of our initial market, which is Kenya. And if we can get that 25%, that's a $750 million annual SOM. In terms of our team, I'm the founder and CEO. Previously, I was chief of engineering of OnfoCoin, which was a cryptocurrency startup actually. Grew to 80,000 users all across the world. So I know how to create scalable infrastructure and scalable tech that is usable all around the world. Becky is been all around Africa. He's worked at SAP selling software and telecom services all across Africa. So he understands the entire African landscape to a T. Jeff creates amazing designs. He used to intern at Salesforce. Very usable interfaces he can make. And Joseph, he graduated from Harvard. He's an ex-Googler, and he founded a company called ShareRails, which basically does what we do, but for malls in the United States. So he knows how to create e-commerce platforms and how to interact with large multinational companies to get them onboarded. In terms of our business model, we take 15% of all transactions, plus we can gather and sell consumer spending data since we have that information. In terms of milestones, we placed second at the world's second biggest hackathon. We have interest from Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google's venture capital firm, and we have partnerships with Jumia, which is Africa's biggest e-commerce platform, and a delivery giant that you know the name of, but I'm not allowed to say.
All right, thank you for that presentation. We're going to kick off questions with Robert.
Hi, Drew. I saw you at the Mizzou outing and I was involved in your pitch. I really liked it then. Since that time, how have you transitioned and how are you doing in Kenya and doing deliveries? Are you to the point of actually making it work?
So what slowed us down is COVID, which slowed down many businesses. So what I pivoted to was making this more of a platform. So we have we're more independent of what's actually happening on the ground in individual countries. Because of the platform, you can be flexible. So depending on what country is doing the best with COVID, we can easily move there. But in Kenya specifically, we've been moving forward. So the government offices have opened up again. So now we're pushing through and actually getting licensed because it's actually quite rigorous to do deliveries there. There's a lot of licensure and a lot of background checks that you have to go through. So we're doing that. And then right after that, Jumia is ready to onboard us. So once we show them our licensure, we onboard with them. We have our 300 drivers on standby right outside of Nairobi. So we have 300 drivers that are part of an organization that we recruited. They're ready to use our platform. Right when we get licensed and Jumia onboarded, we can deliver packages.
So do you think you could get this going if it hadn't been for COVID? Would you be working already? I mean, would you be delivering?
Definitely, because COVID took about 3 months because they went into quite severe lockdown over there. So it put almost a three-month delay on what we could have done. So we would have been faster to market if COVID didn't strike. Yeah.
Okay.
And next up, John. John, do you have any questions?
Yes, just one. How does the risk of loss work?
Yeah. So you go for it.
Yeah. So I mean, you're saying you're B2C, but you sound like you're a B2B with multiple B2Bs sort of to the C, and the C ends up at a stall, as you call it. Who bears the risk of loss, and how much does this company bear the risk of a misship, damaged, or inappropriate? I mean, the package that wasn't supposed to come.
Yeah, definitely. So again, as I showed in the facts and figures, 20% of the packages are just lost or stolen. They never show up, right? So it's a significant issue that's actually the cause of why many people mistrust e-commerce in these places. So the burden of ensuring these packages falls on us, as we are the platform. But the way we can try to mitigate or minimize the damage of packages and the probability of packages get lost or stolen is by creating a driving and like a provider ranking. So if you're a provider, initially you get lower cost packages to ship. So you're not going to be getting like the new phones or new tech items. As you use our platform more and more, and you get a higher and higher rating from the end consumer, and your speed rating is high, so you're getting packages on time, then we'll give you higher and higher value packages. We can also put a bond on users and service providers they have to front money before they're able to deliver a package, and once they deliver it successfully, then they get the money back. So there's a few options we can go with.
How much of the 15% goes to risk management?
It comes down to about 10% of the package is the price of insurance. But if we do the insurance internally, if we're able to reduce the incident rate, we can get a lower cost of insurance per package shipping price, basically.
Thank you.
Oh, you want like a significant figure? Yes, currently it's 10%, but it can be significantly reduced.
Okay, next up, Daryl, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. Thanks for the presentation. So, I mean, kind of what John referred to, I mean, you're only as good as your reliability of your vendors. What are the current, your competitive landscape? What are they doing right now? Are they utilizing these same delivery tactics, or is this something new that you're introducing to the marketplace?
So it's something new, right? So what's happening right now, our competitors like Sendy is they got $60 million from Toyota as a venture capital investment. They turned around and bought Toyota trucks with it, all 60 million. Their way they're doing it is they're being an asset heavy business. They want to own every part of delivery for themselves. What we're doing is we're integrating existing providers, putting them on one platform, and then creating a reputation system to make sure we have the highest quality providers that are on our platform. So we're leveraging existing providers. The competitors are trying to dominate the entire stack.
Thank you.
Okay, Ronnie, do you have one final question?
Yeah, okay, quickly. Are you guys building the different street stalls, and what does that take? How many do you need to have? And how far away do they have to be from each other?
Yeah, this is a great question. So the street stalls already exist. So I think 80% of Kenyans do the shopping daily, especially with refrigeration issues. In India, it's the same way. So they're already built. They're all over the country, usually just around the block from basically anyone. So they're there. There are many of them, especially in Africa.
Okay, unfortunately, that is the end of your 5 minutes for Q&A, but hopefully that was a sufficient answer. At this point, we are going to take a 10-minute break where, just like in the morning, you guys can turn your cameras off, make sure that you're on mute. And then we will be back here at 2:15 for the final 3 presentations. So I will see everybody back here at 2:15.
Welcome to The Edge, the University of Alabama's incubator and accelerator. The Edge is a partnership with the City of Tuscaloosa and the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama. This growth team supports ongoing collaboration within Tuscaloosa's growing entrepreneurial ecosystem. The Edge provides offices, co-working space, conference and training spaces, as well as large open areas inside and out for events. The Alabama Entrepreneurship Institute manages the space and provides ongoing programming to help students, faculty, staff, and community members who are interested in learning entrepreneurial skills to either start a new venture or innovate within their own organizations. Events and learning programs include the annual Edward K. Aldag Jr. Business Plan Competition, which in 2020 awarded over $100,000 in cash and additional services to student, faculty, and community winners. Winners are building their businesses, many at the Edge.
Through competing in competitions that the Edge has kind of set me up to be a part of, I've learned a lot about both myself and my business as a whole. It's opened the door to several investment opportunities, to partnerships, and helped me really solidify my business plan to be sure that we are 100% ready to move forward from here on out.
The University of Alabama has been extremely helpful with us developing our business from when we were just a napkin sketch idea. And as we found our way to the Edge, that's when everything just expedited our process.
Dr. Welburn, Josh, Michael, the whole team here at the Edge is always willing to lend a hand and give you their advice and help you any way they can. And you know, without that network of people trying to push you forward and get this off the ground, we'd be a lot further back than where we are today.
To build a greater future, where do you begin? You expand access to education and technology. You transform the workforce and ignite tomorrow's economic engines. You engage thousands of the world's most talented faculty to lead the next generation of students and researchers. You build higher education's most powerful AI supercomputer creating opportunities for students and faculty across every discipline to learn this groundbreaking technology and use it to solve our world's most pressing challenges. You change how people learn, discover, explore, and work forever. Where do you begin? At the University of Florida. Our unstoppable future is here today.
Today's rapidly evolving economy presents great opportunities, but also grand challenges. The world is calling for better solutions, and we are answering the call, just as we've done since 1785. We're bringing together the thinkers, the dreamers, the doers, to bring ideas to life and connect solutions with the problems that matter most. This is where industry meets academia, where creativity meets impact. This is where good ideas collide and become products and ventures that will drive economic development. This is where innovation changes lives.
What's your path?
What's your path?
What's your path?
What's your path?
My path helped me start a sustainable business.
My path is preparing me to make a difference in the business world.
My path is preparing me for business engineering.
My path took me all over the world, including Ecuador and New Zealand. If you're someone who wants to,
then
join us on a Gatton Pathway. Then join us on a Gatton Pathway. On the social entrepreneurship pathway, we shape sustainable communities.
On the engineering and management pathway, we are driving innovative business solutions.
On the Global Scholars pathway, we travel the world learning about international business.
Now I'm on the path to be a CEO.
Now I'm on a path to shape a more diverse future.
On my path, I'm learning from different cultures to improve my business perspective.
Now I'm on a path to work in international economic development.
I'm on a path to be a general manager for the NBA. If you're someone who wants to,
then we'll see you on a Gatton Pathway.
Then we'll see you on a Gatton Pathway.
Then we'll see you on a Gatton Pathway.
What's your path?
When the ground shifts beneath you, you can run or you can stand firm. At LSU, our stand is rock solid. Our blood runs hot, even as our heads stay cool. Because now is a pivotal moment in the fight for our future. And we refuse to back down when the world needs solutions. LSU, fierce for the future.
Creating a
Okay, welcome back to our pitch group room. We are moving right along here. Next up, we have Kentucky. So if Kentucky can share their slides, we'll go ahead and get started in just 1 minute.
You guys can see the slides fine?
We can see the slides, yes, sir.
Let's make sure there it is, perfect.
Okay, let me make sure that all of our judges are ready. It looks like we have all of them back. So with that, Kentucky, you can take it away.
In my free time, like most people, I like to listen to podcasts. And one of the podcasts I like to listen to is I Am Athlete. when I watch these and listen to these sports podcasts, I like to read the comments just to see what potential users of Acumen are saying. And one of the comments that stuck out to me recently when I was watching the podcast was a comment saying, I would love to purchase this content, or I would love to be in the audience and enjoy this content. Those type of statements, reiterate everything that we're doing here at Acumen. My name is Cameron Brown. I'm the president of Acumen. I've been accepted as a 2021 VFA fellow and have began my career in sports. My VP is Jabari Ash. Our CTO is Jalen Harrell, and that's Shirir Desanor. All have different experiences in sports. And we're excited to be able to present this to you today. So the problem overall is that outlets are struggling to meet sports fans where they are. And if you think about it, when you're engaging with sports yourself, you're probably going to a social platform. You're probably going to Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, somewhere where you can get it in a fast manner in the way you like it. The problem with those ways to receive sports is that you're receiving a lot of fluff content, and avid sports fans, they want serious content that they can consume and not have to worry about it being false or real. Athletes also want more control over their brand than ever before. And you see that in basketball and football and every major sport. You see these athletes pushing out their own content. You see them, instead of going with these major media outlets that they have traditionally, they're finding new ways to monetize themselves. And lastly, cord cutting obviously has continued to grow in popularity, not just in sports, but in every major media landscape. A problem I didn't touch on was COVID, but COVID also showed us that when times get tough and when you can't have anything else to do, sports content is going to be the way that a lot of people get through it. So I have a quick video here I want you guys to listen to.
There's so many different avenues to show the game and market the game. You got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got the different streaming services and platforms. So naturally they should make more money, right? But when you talk about
So that was Fred Taylor. He was basically just explaining the new outlets to make money, and the fact that people don't go to the traditional outlets that they went in the past to receive sports content. So what we're going to do to solve this problem is we're creating an interactive platform that gives the athletes the ability to control their brand and to directly monetize their brand on our platform. So just with continued explanation, using our prototype, these are direct screenshots from our prototype, which is used with real code. As you see, as a user, what you're going to do is you're going to log in, and then you'll have the ability to message your friends, as you see here. You have the ability to comment and interact, very normal social media feel. The value proposition comes in at the fact that we allow our users to purchase exclusive content directly from the athlete. So what that's going to look like is, let's say we have a guy like Tyler Hero, and you want to log onto the platform, you're going to receive everything that we give you, but Tyler Hero is giving insight on what the bubble is, and he's charging each user $1 to view. What you're going to have the option is, you're going to have the option to purchase Tyler's specific video that he's posting at that moment. You can subscribe to Tyler's profile altogether and receive all of his exclusive content, or you can subscribe to the platform and receive all the exclusive content from every athlete that we give. And we're going to do a revenue share with that. On the next slide, I'll show you guys a list of athletes we're already working with. And I'll answer any questions at the end as well about this. But right now we're doing a 90-10 revenue split with athletes. And then when it comes to subscription, it's going to be a 30-70% revenue split with athletes. So why us? We are the fans who want to interact with sports and receive content. That's an obvious reason, but a bigger reason is we have the direct relationships with these athletes now. And everyone in sports has money, so real relationships are the difference maker between a lot of things when it comes to sports. So we have relationships with Beyond AM Agency, Rock Nation Sports, Rosenhaus Sports. I know Ronnie's in Miami. My co-founder actually spent time in the bubble with Bam Adebayo, they're brothers. Tyler Hero is another guy. And here's a list of athletes that we either directly have agreement with now or that we have direct relationships with. So our main competitors are Players TV, The Athletic, YouTube, ESPN Plus is an indirect competitor. The difference between us and them is our interactive platform. There's no social platform out there for sports directly. So we're giving fans a new way to engage. And then obviously we're giving these athletes the ability to directly monetize as well, which is different from our competitors. Milestones. Currently, we're going through 2 accelerators. We're going through the No Cap IO accelerator, which is capital for equity. We just got accepted to the G Beta accelerator that puts us in front of over 30 investors at the end of it. It's a 7-week program. We have a partnership with Bram Weinstein from ESPN and a partnership with Vernon Maxwell, former Houston Rockets player, and we're raising $500,000 total. So,
Okay, that is your 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you. You made it a little faster this time. Okay, questions. Ronnie, we're going to start with you.
Awesome. Cool. What does the process look like? I know it's definitely different, by athlete and depending on what relationship you have with them, but what is the process of actually selling them on this, getting them involved, and do they have to commit to a certain, amount of content that they have to produce and then release directly on your platform?
No, they do not have to commit. And what the process is now, and if we're talking to a lot of agencies and athletes specifically, just trying to get insight on what they like. But the process is usually just a conversation. They do not have to commit. What we are going to ask them to do that is different than other platforms is if they're going to release something exclusively on Acumen, not to release it on another platform for about a week or so. So we're not going to take away their ability to use these other platforms. We're just going to give them the ability to exclusively release it and profit off of that on Acumen. Now, we know realistically we're not going to get their whole audience from their socials, but realistically, we think that we can get their avid sports fans, which if you have 100,000, about 1,000 are going to be avid sports fans that are actually following you.
Okay. And then product-wise and product roadmap, have you built out the software, the app? Is it fully built or do you still have to do that?
So we have a working prototype that we use for pitching purposes that I can also share a link to anybody for any questions. It basically allows you to go in and see how the flow of the app is going to work. We're actually raising right now and through the accelerators, talking to different people about getting money to build an MVP that can start getting us revenue.
Cool. Thanks.
Next up is Daryl. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Once you have an agreement with an athlete, well, first of all, what are the different levels of athletes? In other words, you're talking professional. How do you navigate around college, paying college in the NCAA? Are these high school athletes that are, 4 and 5 star that are trying to promote themselves? I mean, walk me up the scale of percentages of, who they are.
Yeah, so we have 2 all-stars actually, who we currently have agreement with for NBA. We have high-level NFL guys as well, but you mentioned amateur athletes, and we think our bread and butter is going to be amateur. So amateur athletes can now profit off their likeness. NCAA legalized it. They're still obviously going through court trying to figure out regulations, but California and Florida have already legalized these high school students to make money off of their likeness. And we have a lot of relationships with some of the top high school athletes. Imani Bates, Mikey Williams are guys we're working with right now. And those are some of the top high school kids in the country. So we know realistically this first year after launch is going to be professional athletes, but our real push is going to be with these amateur guys and people overseas and bigger athletes like LeBron James, Kevin Durant. They have outlets, but when you're talking about these guys who have 500,000 followers, those are going to be the people we're attacking to get on our platform. Because again, we think if we can get maybe 1,000 of their followers on their social platforms to come over, they'll start making profit and we'll start seeing revenue as well.
Very good. Good presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Any questions from you, John?
Go Cats.
Yeah, go Cats. What do you think the average user would spend to be part of this private content? And the appetite for sports information's great, but between Sirius Radio and all the social media stuff, it's available all over the place without quote paying it. So what do you think the average spend is going to be for a normal sports lover to subscribe?
Normal sports lover on our pro forma, we have about $10. But when you're talking about an avid sports fan, we think that can triple. Only because the normal sports fan may find a video that they like. I'm sure you're a Cats fan. I went to UK as well. You might find 1 or 2 videos about some of the new guys that are coming in that you may like. But when it comes to something really exclusive that everyone doesn't get access to right away, the avid Cats fan is going to want to purchase that content more likely than the normal. Actually, 16 to 34 say they're 30% more likely to purchase content if it is exclusive content. So we think that we have a real chance to get the avid sports fan compared to the normal sports fan.
Do you think that this will extend to coaches and the people that we all like to hear from? And if so, does the university participate in some way here? Because athletics are really, they're diehard driven, and I'm trying to figure out who all could do it. Because one of the other things would be special access to ask questions.
John, exactly. You're heading down a direction that we're thinking as well. We definitely want to have influencers in sports outside of athletes come on here. We would love to partner with these different colleges. A lot of the NCAA regulations, they're trying to figure out ways to not regularize video, but regularize brands. But we figured if they do try to regularize.
Okay, that is time for Kentucky. Well, we'll get you there. Maybe if you pitch in the finals, you'll nail it right at 5 minutes. Next up, we have Ole Miss. So if Ole Miss can share their slides, we'll give the judges a few minutes to take notes on the last team, and then they'll get the go-ahead.
Are you screen sharing? You're not screen sharing. I don't think you're screen sharing the right thing.
Are we screen sharing? Let's see.
We can see your screen, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Okay, judges, are you ready?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, Ole Miss, you can go ahead.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming today. We're going to be talking about our startup Deus Notes.
So to begin, we went and talked to our users and we asked why they are using Deus Notes. And they said to connect with their classmates. Some of them are feeling lonely and others want to help and be helped. We here at Deus Notes are striving to eliminate the barriers associated with connecting college students through our automatic grouping platform and become the hub of the college experience.
So quickly, a little bit about us. We're based in Oxford, Mississippi at Insight Park, at the University of Mississippi. I'm Nicholas.
And I'm Kyle Herbert. Before we get too much further, let's go over some validation and traction. We've surveyed 700 students and talked to 30 people in person. We also created a non-platform MVP and got 10% of the Ole Miss population, which is around just over 1,500 users.
So the problem is that college students aren't as connected to their classmates as they'd like to be. 73% of students want to connect, while 83% of students find it difficult to connect with their classmates. There's a need for an academic connection as well as a need for a social connection. 93% of students think classmates can help them academically, and 78% of students want to talk to their classmates in and outside of class. Our solution, Deus Notes, is an academic social network and a digital hub for college students that groups students together based on their classes and organizations. The way it works is you register, you fill out your name, email, short bio, and major, and then you select your university and which classes you're in, which come from our database. Once you do this, you can go into your classes and you can chat with all of your classmates, you can share files, and you can create events, either academic or social.
Our market size and opportunity, we're focused on a new niche market in the ed tech industry with 19.9 million college students in the US, and our customers are both transactional and premium users, as well as local businesses and data brokers. Our early adopters are going to be the overachievers. These are the kids that have always done very well in school, and they're using this to help others as well as stay connected with what's going on in the class. The desperate, those are the kids on the opposite side of the spectrum who are kind of worried about the next exam, don't know what to study, and they're asking their friends, what are you looking at? Then there's lastly, the lonely. The lonely are the freshmen or the transfer students that don't know many people, and they're looking to their classmates as their first social connections.
So for market adoption that we've adjusted for COVID, we're going to first have digital ambassadors. They're going to get on and become users, and they're going to tell all of their classmates about it. Then we're going to have direct email and text campaigns, as well as targeted social media advertisements based on our data. Then we're going to have physical flyers and signs around campus and put advertisements in bookstores. Then we're also going to have targeted expansion. We're going to start at small schools before we go to larger schools to really get a market share.
Our business model utilizes the freemium and transactional model. We take 10% commission from every transaction through our app. And with our organization system of classes, it's easy to find students their specialized textbooks and their tutoring needs. For students that get the premium subscription, they unlock our features, premium features, and we also work with third-party businesses such as data brokers and local advertisers.
So our unique value proposition is really that student connection, both the academic benefits that come with that and the social benefits as well. Then we also have automatic grouping. Unlike simple group messaging platforms, all a student has to do is they select their university and their few classes, and they're automatically put into the platform. We're available on iOS right now on the App Store, and will be available on all mobile and web platforms in the near future.
Daysnote's features cover a large spectrum of resources. Some of the current resources that students use are simple messaging platforms and study resources. We've also included that we're similar to course management platforms with our automatic grouping feature. In the future, as we release more features, we see our competition transitioning over to more traditional social media as well as textbook resellers.
Our unfair advantages are we're a niche social network, we're domain experts, we're student founders, and we want to use direct network effects to defend ourselves against competitors. In summary, Daysnotes is connecting students together to augment the college experience, both the academic side of that and the social side of that. We're creating unique user identity as part of our digital community. Thank you so much. Feel free to connect with us on social media or check out our app on the App Store. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And we look forward to your feedback.
Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. First up for questions is Robert.
Guys, do you have, it sounds like you've got an app out working now. Is it there at Ole Miss? Are you using it? Are you seeing results? How has the reception been?
Yeah, so we do have an app at Ole Miss, and we basically had a soft launch while we really want to get the web version out as well. So we talked a little bit about the sort of MVP that we had. That was a non-platform MVP, where we basically were able to group lots of students together so that they could chat with each other and share notes. And so that lasted for a few weeks, and then in around October, I believe, we got onto the App Store, and we've had I think we have about 150 users on there right now. We've had double-digit growth every week. Anything you want to add, Kyle?
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that it is only specifically at Ole Miss right now and only for Ole Miss students.
Yep. And so how will you make money out of this? I mean, are they going to, I mean, is it just going to be commerce? You're selling books, or you're selling ads, selling things into the community, go to the local pub or that sort of thing?
So the way that we're making money is both by connecting them with we're doing transactions for textbooks as well as connecting tutors. And we're taking just a slight commission from that. However, it is a freemium model. So we have premium features that we think are interesting for students, such as study games. We're also collecting database of notes from previous classes. And we hope to partner with local bars around the country to release bar passes and many other things.
Yep.
The way that we plan to allow for advertisement is through our events feature. We think we can make it so local companies can advertise through there, so it's more integrated instead of those annoying banner ads.
Okay, great.
Okay, John, do you have any questions?
What would be your exit strategy?
So yeah, there are definitely two ways we can go about it. We think that the most realistic way, success moving forward, that especially would be very fast, is we do this, and we think that frankly there are going to be some other social network companies that are going to take notice and basically try to compete with us. But instead of competing with us, it's more likely that they'll just say, okay, we want to buy you out. That's the fastest way. The other exit strategy, I guess it's not really an exit, but we think that with our infrastructure, adding in all of these monetization features, this could be a business that we grow and is profitable long term.
Yeah, our users are our proprietary asset.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than they roll over every 4 years, right? I mean,
yes, it is constantly exchanging.
Okay, Daryl, do you have any questions?
Yes. How many people do you have currently on your platform?
So on our actual platform, it's about 150. We basically had a soft launch sort of to test it out. Our plan is in the spring to really have a big promotional campaign, really get everyone in the beginning right when their classes start. But we've been able to get some useful feedback on our actual platform on the iOS version.
We also plan in the next semester to expand to another school that's close by, that's a little bit smaller and we have some connections in. and we're trying to test out how it works at a smaller school as well.
In your analysis or your pro forma, give me an idea of what you expect to have in 12 to 24 months.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
No, exactly.
It definitely all depends on what schools we expand to, and if we see a lot more success at Ole Miss coming this next semester, then we'll keep our eyes out on larger schools. And if we have much more success at smaller schools, we'll try and expand much more rapidly to new schools at a faster rate.
We can tell you that within the next 12 to 24 months, you said that we do want to be at least 3 different schools.
Okay.
Okay, and Ronnie, do you have one final quick question for us?
Yeah. Have you thought about selling B2B, like going directly to the schools?
So we have, but we really think one of the things that's really unique about us is that we're student to student. So we want students to be able to feel like this is a community for them.
We also think that there's a potential for using it as a special feature later on to allow a specific avenue for their teachers to connect with students.
Yep.
Got it. And then if I have time, what is your ask? Are you raising?
So we've had kind of a friend, we're in the middle of sort of a friends and family round. We don't have an official ask, but we would love to be connected with any investors.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Our final team for the afternoon is Vanderbilt. So if Ole Miss could stop sharing and we could get Vanderbilt to start sharing, we'll give the judges a few minutes to take notes and then we'll go for our last team here.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, just making sure everything is set up nicely. Awesome. Whenever you guys are ready, just give me a shot.
Judges, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Vanderbilt, take it away.
Hello, my name is Patrick Musal, and I'm a 4th-year electrical engineering PhD student at the Institute of Software Integrated Student Systems at Vanderbilt University. I'm also a co-founder and the director of research for ArmCyber. And today we're excited to present our best-in-class application security solution leveraging zero vulnerability technology. Within the context of our increasing virtual interactions, it has become clear that there are significant threats posed to our economic and national security if we do cybersecurity poorly. Right now, we are focusing on the vulnerabilities that arise because software is similar. Due to legacy code and a rapidly changing software landscape, there are on average 70 vulnerabilities per 1,000 lines of code at creation, and 15 of those make it into the product. The economies of scale are on the side of the attacker, with an average response time of about 279 days. At large companies, downtime translates into significant costs, risking the financial health of the company. What would you do if you lost your entire company because of an attack? So how do you defend against well-resourced, patient, and smart adversaries? The answer is an adaptive defense-in-depth approach utilizing intelligent software scrambling. Our zero vulnerability technology defends against nation-state attackers by shuffling code at runtime at the application level. You can think of this like radio frequency hopping for software, or whack-a-mole, or even just moving the goalposts. By constantly moving the code and vulnerabilities around, hackers will be forced to invest vast amounts of time and money and resources into hacking. In the rare instance that they can find a vulnerability, it will not be able to propagate across similar applications on the network. So our zero vulnerability technology has 3 underlying technical capabilities. The first is a static randomization of the software and an AI-inspired vulnerability patching. This is a hybrid approach that allows fixing known vulnerabilities with a one-time randomization to protect against attacks. The second is a runtime re-randomization. This is a continuous and automated randomization that occurs either if there's any predetermined risk factors that indicate an attack is imminent, or because of a time-based trigger which randomizes the code at a predefined time. Right now, we can randomize every 10 seconds. That means an attacker needs to identify a vulnerability, craft, and exploit in 10 seconds before that piece of code moves around in the application. And lastly, we can apply this to protect against ransomware attacks, where an adversary seeks to take over your system. So how are we doing in comparison to our competitors? In randomization, not every instruction or what is known as a gadget can be moved. Those machine instructions that don't move are the key to how effective the randomization is. We tested against our competitors who use methods such as ASLR, polymorphic randomization, and binary shuffling. In this example, we do the math considering that an average exploit takes about 5 instructions. The results show that ASLR results in an 85% chance in a successful attack. Polymorphic randomization is still awful with a 65% attack success rate. Binary shuffling is better with 31%, but still effective because 75% of the instructions don't move. At ARMS, only 2% of the instructions actually do not move, which leads to the chance of a successful attack being 0.0001%. Let's make that really concrete. If you have 100,000 applications, that translates to roughly 2 being successfully attacked. Our vision is this changes the cybersecurity landscape by providing the DoD and corporations with a new ACE when protecting against nation-state attacks. Our first product target is an application security solution. The second is data security, and the last is communication security. The tech is extremely sophisticated, but we have made significant effort to package it into a user-friendly Docker container security solution for dev security ops for all companies at all stages and industries. Instead of monitoring with endpoint protection, we are proactively embedding adaptive and resilient security, mitigating vulnerability discovery in the first place, and protecting over 700 million plus containers in the United States. Lastly, I'd like to introduce the rest of our team. We're a team of accomplished business entrepreneurs, technical innovators who have been on the physical and cyber front lines of America's continued global leadership position. Our cybersecurity solution was born out of years of PhD research by our technical co-founders that was funded by the ARFL and the intelligence community. Our CTO, Tim Pottinger, is currently a PhD student at Vanderbilt who has 5+ years experience at places such as NASA, the White House, and Cisco. Our strategic R&D officer and younger twin to Tim is Brad Pottinger. He's currently a senior exploitation researcher at the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab. He has won 2 Best Paper awards from the NSA for his research and frequently briefs officials at the highest level of the US government on cyber and national security issues. Finally, our CEO is Michael Bryant, and was recently the director for the Center of Entrepreneurship at Vanderbilt, whose tech background comes from Amazon, Techstars, and prior to that, he was an officer in the US Marines. I'd love now to field questions with my colleague and friend, Tim Pottinger.
Excellent, thank you very much. Ronnie, you are our first question.
A lot to unpack. I'm curious what the sales process is like. Who are you selling to? Are there different levels to that? And what traction you've had so far?
I'd invite Tim to take that question.
Yeah, so we're selling to developers in the DevSecOps sector. And considering there are about 500,000 developers in this sector, we're expecting within the first year to be able to reach about 1,000 of them. And our price point is about $250 per month per company. And this compares to our competitors such as Snike.io, who are pricing at $400 per month. And what they're providing is scanning of vulnerabilities and monitoring. We're adding an additional prevention layer to actually mitigate vulnerabilities in addition to just detecting them. So at a price point of 250 and 1,000 developers, that would scale to about $3 million in ARR.
Got it. Okay, and that's $250 per month per company?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then what traction have you had so far in selling? Is it still very early?
So actually, go ahead.
Right now we're doing controlled pilots. So within the Nashville area, we're doing a controlled pilot through white labeling through platform as a service companies, and those white labeling deals are about $1,000 in support contracts plus 50% revenue share. So it's about 30,000 ARR right now.
Also, I'd just like to add that we have a letter of support from the Space Force Chief Scientific Officer, and we are getting it validated by the Joint Special Operations Command, NSA, and CIA former Black Ops hackers as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey, Daryl, any questions?
Yeah, I got a quick, I mean, you're in a great sector, great presentation. I was hit by ransomware about 2 months ago, very big hit. And it cost me a lot of money, I must say. But my question is, how are you any different from, the groups I know are like Bitdefender or Checkpoint or I think it's called Acronis. What's the value proposition different from these other kind of malware type companies?
So our value proposition is that we use intelligent software scrambling. So basically what it means is that it moves around vulnerabilities from one system to the next. So generic attacks like Stuxnet that basically are able to perform reconnaissance on one system, make an exploit and deploy that exploit on all the systems that have that piece of software can't happen.
Well, it's one thing about trying to enter, but then it's one thing about already inside, right? So are you able to protect both?
Yeah. So to eject attackers, what we do is runtime randomization. So basically in production, what can happen is if we detect an indicator of compromise, you can perform a re-randomization action that basically ejects an attacker out of memory.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, John, any questions?
Yes, on the ask, your current ask, and what are the parameters of how you value the company at this stage in the development?
So at this point, sorry, Patrick, you can go.
No, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah. So currently, we're valuing ourselves based upon our technology, our intellect, our potential. But we're hoping to raise funds actually in the spring of 2021, where I guess our valuation could be more defined. So we're submitting for grants right now, and around spring 2021, we're expecting to be at a phase 2 in a grant and have closer to I'd say $1 million from one of those defense grants, so it can be more defined as to what our valuation is. So I'd say our valuation with the grant plus closer to 100,000 in revenue, our valuation would probably be around like 10 to 15 million, and we'd probably ask for around 2 million.
Thank you.
All right, Robert, do you have one final question to send us off?
Yes. How are you testing it now? Are there companies there in Nashville that you're inside, that you're securing data that you say you were attacked, and how do you prove it and that sort of thing?
So I'll answer the first part of that question. I mentioned that we are getting this validated by the Joint Special Operations Command and NSA Black Ops hackers. So we want to fully validate our system on known attacks in that sense, and then I'll allow Tim to do the corporate standpoint, how we're validating that solution.
Yeah, from the corporate standpoint, basically in our controlled pilots, we're basically just monitoring all the attacks that happen and indicators of compromise that we're able to detect from our monitoring solution. That's in addition to our randomization solution. So those are with 2 companies in Nashville right now.
And when you sit down with them and you say, hey, I saw you were attacked 4 times this week, do you have data that shows that proves it? Because I know very little about this. So how was there proof?
So we inject these things called traps inside of code that are only triggered when an exploit is happening. So anytime one of those traps is triggered, it sends an API call to our dashboard. And
okay, we are going to have to cut you off there. That is your time. So that is all 7 of our teams. Good work. Here's what's going to happen next. All of our participants are going to leave this Zoom link, and you will need to be back on the main Zoom link, the one that you joined this morning at 9 a.m., no later than 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. The top 3 teams will be announced at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So please make sure that you're back on that main Zoom link no later than 3:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Our judges, you're going to get about 15-minute break here, and then you're going to rejoin the deliberation link. That was the link that you joined right at the end of the first session this morning. You're going to rejoin that link at 3:05, where collectively all 10 judges are going to pick the top 3 teams that are going to present in the finals tonight. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well then everybody is free to go, and I will see the judges at 3:05 on the deliberation link.